What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Ahaha. We back again, and I think this might be the most requested video that I've had so far, and that's the differences between the NBA and playing in Europe.
Mr. Ahaha.
Hey, fall into Agbekus like a beast. Hey, Mami be the captain of our ship. Sail.
As someone who played in the NBA for a little bit and now I'm playing in Europe, I feel like I'm qualified to speak on this. Some of my experiences may only be accurate to the Sacramento Kings, but most of the things I'm going to talk about are league-wide. So let's get into the video. Number one, player management. So this has to do with like load management and taking care of your body and practices and things like that. In the NBA, if you suffer a little injury in practice or if you're not feeling good, they're encouraging you to rest. They're encouraging you to not practice. They have so many physios and so many people that are there to take care of you that they want to make sure that you're good and you're playing at 100%. You will very rarely hear them forcing a player to play just because they got a lot of players, a lot of guys that can step up, and guys don't want to get in trouble for someone re-injuring themselves or something like that. In Europe, if you're a star player or a role player, it don't matter. You basically have to practice. Like, you get into the mentality, you get into the habit of,
damn, I hurt my thumb yesterday.
oh well, tape it up, take medicine, do what you need to do to be able to practice. Maybe if you get to a certain level where you're a Mirotic or a Mike James or something like that, you're gonna practice. And the coach is not gonna treat you any differently. You need to practice to get ready to play the game. That's how they think. And it helps players be more tough. And I'm someone that likes to practice and I like to play, so it's, you know, I'm used to it and I like it. It doesn't really bother me. But I do remember when I was in Sacramento, this was before preseason, I rolled my ankle a little bit and like they were like,
No, you're done. You're shut down.
I was like, no, I can finish the practice. And it was like, no. They were getting upset at me for even wanting to practice. So, you know, they got great physios there. They got a lot of physios too. So there's no reason for you to not get treatment after practice. And yeah, I think that's a very big difference between Europe and the NBA. Number two, travel. NBA, you fly in with private jets, you drive into the airport, the secure part of the airport, to go through your own security, to get straight onto the plane, not going through no terminals, not going through security and getting your boarding pass, none of that. You drive to the airport and you're good. Like, it's kind of crazy. You land in the city and you don't need to do no security, no walkthroughs, none of that. In Europe, obviously there's some teams that fly private. When I was in Monaco, we flew private, so it was pretty cool. Here we fly private sometimes, but we still gotta fly through Bilbao on a normal flight. And some people take buses. Some professional teams that I've been on, we took trains. Yeah, so it's definitely different. You know, it's still a great living, but I feel like it's different when you're just going to your city and you don't have to see anyone versus walking through the airport and everyone's looking like, what's that basketball team that's here? But, you know, it was a good life and they're both good lives, but the NBA is just more convenient in that sense. Also, with the NBA schedule, you have some back-to-backs. In Europe, you're never playing a back-to-back unless you're playing in the cup. So with that being said, you play a game in the NBA, you got a game the next day in a different city, you leave straight after the game, you get to the hotel at 2 a.m., you're sleeping in, and then you don't have any shoot around, you probably have optional breakfast or a walkthrough. Sometimes you don't have any responsibilities, just make sure you eat. There'll be food provided at the hotels, and then if you know the lingo, first bus, second bus, third bus, get to the game. So compared to Europe, like let's say for example, Euroleague, you play Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday. You play Tuesday and then you travel Wednesday morning to get to the other city. Some teams believe in practicing when you get there or practicing before. Whether it's a light practice, recovery practice, they're still gonna do some sort of practice and then shoot around when you get to the next city on the day of the game, and then you play the game. Like I said, if you don't fly private, you would probably have to stay the night and then come back to your city the next day, but the convenience of it is definitely in the NBA side. Number three, your game day routine. This is something that people do not think about, but the game day routine in the NBA was brutal. For me, with Sacramento, we had shoot around at 10 a.m., but before shoot around, everyone has like shooting groups. You know, my shooting group was at 9 a.m., so I would have to get to the arena at like 8:30, 8:40, and then I would do my shooting group at 9, and then I would lift a little bit, and then we start shoot around at 10. And shoot arounds in Sacramento were like legit, you know, defensive slides, a lot of shots, so like you're getting a good sweat. And then it was was like legit an hour, hour 10. And then after shoot around is done, you gotta shower, get home. I was a rookie, so I had the responsibility, put in the towels on everyone's seat. And Malik Monk, shout out to him, I hate him. He made sure I did that or else he was on me the whole time. And so I had to like finish working out and then run up and put everyone's towel in their seat so they could shower, go back downstairs and eat or something like that. So by the time I head back home, it's 12:30. And then let's say the game's at 7 p.m. I'm in the first shooting group that starts at like 4 o'clock or 4:15. So after all that I've been through, I still gotta make sure I'm rushing back to the gym, and you get a couple hour nap, but then you're heading straight to the gym. And then the part that gets me is after you work out, you have nothing to do for 2 hours. Some people like to read, some people get treatment, some people lift. It's pretty crazy. And then let's say the game starts at 7. I wasn't playing as much, so I'm watching the game. And then NBA games are really long, media timeouts, all of that. So games could finish after 3 hours sometimes. And then after the game, you gotta lift. So it's like a whole day of nonstop activity. And it gets pretty tiring. And this is for me, I wasn't a guy that was playing too much. That was my experiences. It's better for guys that are in the rotation and things like that. But then in Europe, you gotta shoot around at 10 a.m. You get there at 9:40, 9:45. And shoot arounds, depending on who you're with, are probably just watch video and then shoot. So you don't need to be there 45 minutes early. You don't really need to do that. And then after shoot around is done, I've been on teams where you didn't sweat for shoot around. You just shot casually or you watch film, walk through the other team's plays, and then you go home. And then you gotta be at the gym an hour and a half before the game starts. And that's it. You do a team warm up, get ready together, and then you play the game and go home. And European games, obviously, they're 10-minute quarters, so it's shorter games. There's less media timeouts that are obligatory. So it's a shorter game and you get to go home and it's less stress on your body. So that's another thing people don't think about. NBA game days are very long and very tedious for some people. Number 4, money. There's a lot of things you can say about money. And I'm not even talking about, NBA contracts being public knowledge. In Europe, they're not. You can Google all of that. But I'll start off by saying in Europe, your first check is usually end of August, early September maybe. So that's what I was used to. When I signed in the NBA, I signed in July, and I was like thinking I'm gonna get paid in August or get paid in July straight away. And at the time, like I was celebrating. I wasn't as financially smart as I should have been, and I was like living life, and I'm like,
Yo, I'm going to the NBA, like we good. All of this is on me.
when I asked my agent,
When are we getting paid?
he said November 15th. And this was like August, and I'm down bad. I spent a lot of money expecting to get my first check in August. It wasn't until November 15th, so I had to ask for an advance from Sacramento. And I asked for like a $70,000 advance, and I didn't remember the tax situation. I got like $29,000 of the $70,000 I asked for, and it was just brutal. Obviously that helped, but it was just something I didn't consider, something I didn't remember, and that's like my funny story of me misjudging what should have happened, what I thought would happen when I got to the NBA. But I'm also talking like stipend money. Like you get money for traveling on the road. You go on a 10-day road trip, you get like $160 every day. And you're going on the road and they provide meals, free meals at the hotels. And sometimes like the vet on the team will take the guys out for dinner. So you don't really need to spend this money. And I'm Nigerian, we don't play about money. We're cheap, we're stubborn. We only spend money if we feel like we need to. So I was eating at the hotel. I had a lot of great vets and great teammates. Shout out to HB, Domas, Kev, and Malik especially. It took me out to eat and took care of the boy. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, you just get a lot of money. The freaking, like the charity work and going out to do things in the community, you get paid for all of that. You get like a $3,000, $3,500 check before tax. And obviously a lot of people do that out of the graciousness of their heart, but money is also still important. Dante Exum is the person that told me about that. And he said, make sure you go to the person that organizes all of that and say, yo, call my phone. And I did. And they took care of him. I got like 4 of those in like a couple months time. And it was just very fun, but money isn't everything. There's a licensing check that you don't really know about if you're not in the NBA. It has to do with NBA 2K. And after the season's done, you get like a couple $100,000 back the year after. No one knows about this. And then also, I think in your contract, they have something that's set up where like 10% of your contract goes into like this big pot. And then after the season, if the NBA makes enough money, they will send you back this money. So it's like money that you kind of forgot about and put away, and then you just get it back, you know, in like July or August after the season's done. So there's a lot of things that have to do with money, aside from just like the crazy contracts that guys are getting in the NBA. While in Europe, you may not get any money for months. They telling you getting paid in August, November, and you've got paid one time. You got to deal with that. You got to go play and make sure that you stay locked in, because teams can hold you hostage. You complaining about your money, but then you know that if you leave, it's going to be harder for you to get all your money. So you got to pick your battles. But the Euroleague Players Association is doing a great job of making sure there's less of that, but it's still a problem that will probably never go away in Europe, and it's difficult, especially at the lower levels. Things like that will happen very, very, very often. But for me, like I said, I'm blessed that I've been in a position where none of my teams have done me too dirty.
Still waiting on a check from one of my last teams,
But for me, both places are great. They have their cons, they have their pros. But I'm grateful to be able to speak on my experiences in both of those leagues, playing in the NBA and playing in Europe, and I'm just super, super happy. And that concludes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We appreciate all the support and all the love. If you guys have any advice, any suggestions, comment down below. I'm reading all the comments and I'm making sure we will cover all topics. I want to educate you guys and give you guys great content. And I want to learn more things about this as well. So I'm reading all the comments. We appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Like and subscribe. Send to all your friends. Follow me on my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok. You know what it is. It's Mr. Peace.